So hello namaskara. Hello everyone. So I'm going to start a next video tutorial on the second unit of Java programming language. So let me start with the first concept. First concept is a class. As we all know that class is a user defined data type in Java, and it is very important basic element of a object oriented programming language of C++ as well as Java. So a class is a template that describes the data and behavior associated with instance of that class. When we create a class, then once we create a class, we can able to create an object that looks and feels like the instances of class. So in short, whenever we want to create an object, the first thing we need to create a class. Once we create a class, then we will be able to create an objects. The data associated with a class are usually stored in objects, and the behavior associated with the class are usually implemented using methods. So in short, a class is a very important entity of a Java programs, which contains objects and methods. So let us see how can we create a class in Java. Creating a class in Java is very easy. All we need is the keyword class followed by a class name. Class name we can give anything. It is depend on the programmers, but we need to make sure that the keyword class should be written first, followed by the class name. So once we define a valid class name, then we are going to include the fields and methods. As I told earlier, that fields are nothing but objects which are used to store the data values, and methods are going to implement various operations on objects. So a class contains objects and methods to represent the state and behavior of the object respectively. So fields are used to store the data, and methods are used to perform various operations on those objects. So how can we create objects in Java? It's very simple. Once we create a class, then the next activity is about creation of objects. Objects can be recreated in Java once a class is created. The syntax for creating objects is given below. So in order to create an object, in case now objects create ಮಾಡಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ class ನಲ್ಲಿ first ಒಂದು class create ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಿರಬೇಕು. Once class create ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ನಾವು next thing is we can able to create objects in Java. So the syntax of for creation of objects is data type followed by object name. So data type is very important. Data types are very important for objects because we need to inform to the compiler that we are going to use a integer data value or a float data value or character data value or a string data value. So for that purpose, data type is very important. So if we look at the examples, int is a data type and a is an object, then we can say that we are going to create an object called a, which is defined of int data type. Similarly, we can create a character objects also by using a char data type. So the second example indicates that C is an object which is declared of character data type. So let us see a simple class program in which objects and methods are defined. So for this I need to create a class name. So before using a class name, it's quite necessary for all the programmers of Java to include basic access specifiers such as public. So public class followed by the class name. Here the class name is min number. Since we are going to find the minimum of two numbers with the help of this program, so that's why I named class name as min number. Once I define a class name, the next thing is to define the main function, which is a very important function for all the Java programs. If we don't include the main function, then the compiler is not going to execute in not even a single statement. So main function is very important for the Java programs. So after defining the main function, we are going to create an objects. As I told you, objects can only be created once the class is created. Since we have created a class called min number, so that we can create objects. So I am going to define an object called a, and I am going to assign the integer value 11 to it. Why? Because it is declared of int data type. So for second object also I am using the same integer data type only, and I am giving a 6 as a data value. For C, I am trying to find the minimum number of A and B. So whichever the object which has a min value, I'm passing that value to the min function. So I need to include the whole min function as a initialization of object C, which is of int data type. So after declaring, I'm going to include an output statement. Output statements in Java programming language are written as system.out.println. So system.out, as it indicates, it is a output statement of a programming language, Java programming language. So once I define the output statement, then I am going to include the min value followed by C. Why? Because C always contains the min value, whichever the value. Even if object B has a min value, then it is going to define object A. If a object B has a min value, then it is going to define object B. So before finding out the required output, let's concentrate on a method called min functions. So here I am using a public access specifier for the method followed by static keyword. There is a very strong reasons why the static keyword is used for this method. See, static means it is a keyword which will indicate that whenever we use a static keyword, then whichever the objects are present in this method are not going to change during the execution of a program. For those reasons I am making a static. Static means stationary. Static ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಒಮ್ಮೆ ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಟಿಕ್ ಕೀವರ್ಡ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಒಂದು ಮೆಥಡ್ ಡಿಫೈನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ಸ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂಸ್ ನಾವು ಚೇಂಜ್ ಮಾಡೋಪ್ಲೇ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಒಂದು ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್ ಎಕ್ಸಿಕ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡೋತನ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ಸ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಸೇಮ್ ಇರ್ತವೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಆಫ್ಟರ್ ದ್ಯಾಟ್ ಐ ಆಮ್ ಗೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಟು ಡಿಫೈನ್ ಎ min as a object of int data type. Immediately after defining the min object of int data type, now my next task is to compare two objects n1 and n2 which are defined as the parameters of min function. So for that comparison, for that condition, I am going to use a simple if-else statement. If-else statement is a conditional statement which will return either true or false. So when I compare n1 is greater than n2, since our main focus is to find that object which has a minimum value. If n1 is greater than n2, obviously n1 has a larger value and n2 has a minimum value. That's why I am calling here n2 as a min value. Else if n1 is not greater than n2, then minimum number will be returned as n1. So in this way, by using a simple if else statement, I am going to return the minimum number of two objects. So in this way, we can write a class program which has objects and methods in the Java program. When we execute this program, obviously if you observe that object A has 11 value and object B has 6 value, so the minimum number will be returned as n2. So we will get the output as object B. Why? Because object B has a minimum value compared to object A. So in this way, we have successfully completed the first concept of second unit called class. So if you have any doubts regarding this concept, you can drop it in comment section. I will be more than happy in order to solve your doubts. So let's move to the next concept. The next concept is parameter passing techniques in Java. This parameter passing is very important. Why? Because there are various sorts of parameters are passed to the methods. So how those parameters are passed during the execution of a program? Let us study the second topic called parameter passing techniques. So there are different ways in parameter data can be passed into and out of a method. So in order to learn parameter passing mechanism, let us include a small scenario. So let us have two functions, function A and function B. So when a function A calls function B, then function B is called as a called function. Why? Because as a function A, I am calling someone else. So function B is called as a function B is called as a called function, and function A is called as a caller function. So in this way, the small correction in this function A is called as a caller function. Why? Because I am calling the another function. I will be called as a caller function, and function B called as a calling function. So here when the function A passes the arguments to function B, those are called as actual arguments or parameters. I will repeat this once again. When function A passes the arguments to function B, those arguments are called as actual arguments. When function B receives the arguments from function A, when it receives successfully from function A, then the arguments received by function B are called as formal parameters. So there are two different kinds of parameters we have in Java: formal parameters and actual parameters. So let us see how these parameters are defined in Java programming languages. A formal parameter and its type as they appear in the prototype of a function. So in order to define a formal parameter, I need to use a valid function name followed by data type and a variable name, or we can also call object name. So in order to define formal parameters define ಮಾಡಬೇಕಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ನಾವು ಒಂದು ವ್ಯಾಲಿಡ್ ಫಂಕ್ಷನ್ ನೇಮ್ ಕೊಡಬೇಕು. ಫಂಕ್ಷನ್ ಇಮಿಡಿಯೇಟ್ಲಿ ಫಂಕ್ಷನ್ ನೇಮ್ ಕೊಡೋದು, ಬ್ರ್ಯಾಕೆಟ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಡೇಟಾ ಟೈಪ್ ಆಗೋದು, ಒಂದು ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಡಿಫೈನ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಇನ್ ದಿಸ್ ವೇ ವಿ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಎ ಫಾರ್ಮಲ್ ಪ್ಯಾರಾಮೀಟರ್ಸ್ ಇನ್ Java programming language. So coming back to the next kind of parameters, which is actual parameters. Remember, in order to define the actual parameters, we doesn't need to use a data type. We can directly use the variable's name. Before that, we need to stress on by using a valid function name. Actual parameter define ಮಾಡಬೇಕಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಒಂದು ವ್ಯಾಲಿಡ್ ಫಂಕ್ಷನ್ ನೇಮ್ ತಗೊಂಡು ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ ನಾವು ವೇರಿಯೇಬಲ್ಸ್ ನೇಮ್ ಪಾಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು. ಸೊ ಇನ್ ದಿಸ್ ವೇ we can define formal parameters as well as actual parameters by using different syntaxes in Java programming language. So let's see the important techniques of parameter passing mechanism. So we have two types of parameter passing mechanism in programming languages: call by value and call by reference. But in Java, with respect to Java and its strict restrictions, only call by value has been supported in Java, whereas call by reference is not supported because of the pointers concept. So let us see what is a call by value. If we call a method by passing a value, then it is known as call by value. One method ನಾವು ಕಾಲ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂಲಿಂತ ಕಾಲ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ then it is known as call by value. So whenever we can call any method, when we are calling a method, when we pass the value, when we call the method by passing a value, then it is known as call by value. So let us see the small example of call by value program in Java. If you remember, in case of call by value, original value is not changed. Original value, once ನಾವು ಒಂದು ಡೇಟಾ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಡಿಫೈನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಒಂದು ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟಿಗೆ, ನಾವು ಅದೇ ಡೇಟಾ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಒಂದು ಫಂಕ್ಷನಿಗೆ ಕಾಲ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಅದ್ರ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಸೇಮ್ ಆ್ಯಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಇರ್ತದೆ ರೀ. ಈವನ್ ಆಫ್ಟರ್ ಗೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಸೆವೆರಲ್ ಚೇಂಜಸ್ ಇನ್ ದ method body, the value will remain same. Why? Because we are calling a method by passing a value. So for this method, we are going to define a class called operation. In that, carefully concentrate on the first object, int data equal to 50. So 50 is a data value which is passed, which is initialized to object data of int data type. So immediately after initializing 50 data value to data object of int data type, I am going to write a method called white change int data. So here, if you closely look at the int data, is nothing but we are passing the data value of 50 to method. So that's why this technique is known as call by value. Let's see how that 50 data value will remain intact throughout the execution of a program. Immediately after defining the method, I'm going to add the initial data value with 100. But if you remember, I have initialized 50 data value to the class object, but I'm modifying the data value for the local object. The local object is that object which is defined inside the body of a method, so that doesn't make any changes to the class objects. After that, I'm going to define the main function. Then I'm going to define in order to create an instance object, I need to use a class name, operation OP. OP is an instance object of operation class followed by a new keyword. Whenever we use a new keyword, then it is going to create an instance object for the class name. Then I'm going to call system.out.println, which is output statement in Java programming language, before change op.data. So here after using the output statement, I'm going to call the method using instance object name. So op is an instance object name dot change. So in this method I'm passing 500 as a data value to the data object. So after that I'm writing once again the object name of output statement after change op.data. But if we concentrate on the concept call by value ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ಕೊಡ್ತದೆ ಅಂತಂದರೆ ಒಮ್ಮನ ಒಂದು ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಡಿಫೈನ್ ಮಾಡಿ, ಒಂದು ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಡಿಫೈನ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಡೇಟಾ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಕೊಟ್ಟ, ಅದೇ ಡೇಟಾ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂನ ಮೆಥಡಿಗೆ ಕಾಲ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಅಂತಂದರೆ ಅದು ಕಾಲ್ ಬೈ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. even though there are two instances where the data values are changed, but it is going to display only 50. Before change also 50, after change also 50. Why? Because we are calling a method by passing a data value. So in short, I want to say, whenever we call a method by passing a value, that process or that technique is known as call by value. So with this program I am going to end this concept. Once again, if you have any doubts with respect to parameter passing mechanisms in Java, you can drop it in comment section. I will be more than happy in order to solve your doubts. So I am going to move to the next concept, very important and very essential concept of Java programming language, which is a constructor. So let us see what are constructor. A constructor is a special type of method which is used to initialize a method. So ಕನ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಟರ್ ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತದೆ ಅಂತಂದರೆ ಇನಿಷಿಯಲೈಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತದ್ರಿ. ಒಮ್ಮೆ ನಾವು ಒಂದು ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ತೊಗೋತೀವಿ, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಡಿಫೈನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಇಮಿಡಿಯೇಟ್ಲಿ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಕನ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಟರ್ ಕಾಲ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ constructor is going to initialize the class objects. So in Java, a constructor is a block of code similar to a method. It is called when an instance of a class is created. So once again, as I told earlier, in order to create a constructor, first we need to create a class. So constructor is a part of a class. So before creating a constructor, it is always important that we need to create a class, and the constructor name should be same as the class name. By using the same class name, the same name as a class name, constructor is going to initialize the class object. At the time of calling constructor, memory for an object is allocated in the memory. Obviously, ಯಾವಾಗ ನಾ ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ ಕನ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಟರ್ ಒಂದು ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಇನಿಷಿಯಲೈಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತದೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಆ ಟೈಮಿಗೆ ಯಾವಾಗಲೂ ಕನ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಟರ್ ನಾವು ಯಾವಾಗ ಕಾಲ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ ಅವಾಗ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಸೆಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮೆಮೊರಿ ಅಲೋಕೇಶನ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ ರೀ. So every time an object is created using new keyword, at least one constructor is called. So whenever I am going to use the new keyword, then at that time one constructor will be called, and using that constructor we can initialize various objects of a class. So let us see what are the rules for creating a Java constructor. Java constructor create ಮಾಡಬೇಕಂತಂದ್ರೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಹತ್ರ 3 ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ರೂಲ್ಸ್ ಅದ ರೀ. ಫಸ್ಟ್ ರೂಲ್, constructor name should be same as class name. Okay, if the class name is student, then the constructor name should also be same as student. Then constructor must have no explicit return value. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕನ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಟರ್ ಡಿಫೈನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ ವೈಡ್ ಕನ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಟರ್ ಅಂತ ಕೊಡ್ಲಕ್ಕೆ ಬರಲ್ಲ. Now immediately void is a return type. Return type is not at all supported in Java constructor. So in short, void keyword is not allowed in order to create a constructor. So the third rule indicates that Java constructor cannot be abstract, static, final, or synchronized. Why? Because constructor do have its body. When we are going to define a constructor as an abstract method doesn't contain any body. So because of that, a constructor cannot be abstract, final, static, or synchronized. So we need to remember these important 3 rules in order to create a constructor in Java. So next we are going to study which are the different types of constructors supported in Java. There are 2 types of constructors in Java. One is no argument constructor and parameterized constructor. Let us study in the different types of parameters in detail. So first, with respect to first constructor, no argument constructor. Excuse me. No argument constructor. Just ನೇಮ್ ಹೆಡಿಂಗ್ನಾಗೆ ಈಗ ಅಬ್ಸರ್ವ್ ಮಾಡಿರಿ. ನೋ ಆರ್ಗ್ಯುಮೆಂಟ್ ಅಂತಂದರೆ ಒಂದು ಕನ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಟರ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಆರ್ಗ್ಯುಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಇದ್ದಿದ್ದಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತಂದರೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವು ನೋ ಆರ್ಗ್ಯುಮೆಂಟ್ ಕನ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಟರ್ ಅಂತೀವಿ. ಸೊ ನೋ ಆರ್ಗ್ಯುಮೆಂಟ್ ಕನ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಟರ್ ಈಸ್ ಎ ಕನ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಟರ್ ವಿಚ್ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ನೋ ಪ್ಯಾರಾಮೀಟರ್. So when a constructor doesn't contain any parameter, then it is called as a no argument constructor, and this constructor is also known as default constructor. If we won't define a constructor in a class, then compiler creates a default constructor with no arguments for the class. So default constructor provides the default values to the object like 0, null, etc. depending on the data types. So ಈಗ ನಾನು ಡಿಫಾಲ್ಟ್ ಕನ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಟರ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಒಂದು ಪ್ಯಾರಾಮೀಟರ್ ಇನ್ಕ್ಲೂಡ್ ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ. ಆ ಟೈಮಿಗೆ at that time the constructor is going to provide default value as 0 or null. Why? Because I haven't defined in parameters. So in short, a default constructor returns 0 or null value for no argument constructor. So let us see the simple example of default constructor. Here the class name is bike1. When we create a class name, then we are allowed to create a constructor called bike. So here, if you concentrate on the mouse pointer, this is a valid class name, and this is bike1 is a constructor. Which type of constructor? It is a default constructor because we don't have any parameters in the parentheses. So once I define a default constructor, then I am going to include the one output statement, bike is created. So after defining the output statement, I need to declare the main function. Once again, main function is very important for any Java program. Immediately after declaring a main function, I am going to create an instance for constructor as b. B is an instance object of a class bike1, and using new keyword I am going to call that constructor. So when I execute this program, then one output statement will be created as bike is created. Why? Because it doesn't have any other things to display. So that's why I said default constructor is a constructor which doesn't contains any parameters. So let's study the other type of constructor, which is known as parameterized constructor. So it is the opposite of default constructor. Default or no argument constructor ನಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ಯಾರಾಮೀಟರ್ಸ್ ಅಲೋ ಇರಲ್ರಿ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ಯಾರಾಮೀಟರೈಸ್ ಕನ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಟರ್ಸ್ನ ನಾವು ಕಂಪಲ್ಸರಿ ಪ್ಯಾರಾಮೀಟರ್ಸ್ ಡಿಫೈನ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಕನ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಟರ್ನಲ್ಲಿ. ಸೊ ಎ ಕನ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಟರ್ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಪ್ಯಾರಾಮೀಟರ್ಸ್ and it is known as parameterized constructor. If you want to initialize the fields of the class with your own values, then use a parameterized constructor. ಈಗ ನಾ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ಸಿಗೆ ಏನೇನೋ ಒಂದು ವ್ಯಾಲಿಡ್ ಡೇಟಾ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂಸ್ ಕೊಡೋದದ ರೀ, ಲೈಕ್ 10 ಅಂತ ಕೊಡೋದದ, ಒಂದು ನೇಮ್ ಅಂತ ಕೊಡೋದದ, ಒಂದು ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಡೇಟಾ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂಸ್ ಕೊಡೋದದ. ಅಂಥ ಟೈಮಿಗೆ ನಾವು ಪ್ಯಾರಾಮೀಟರೈಸ್ ಕನ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಟರ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು. The parameterized constructor is used to provide different values to distance object, and we can also provide the same values to the constructors. So let's quickly see the one program for parameterized constructor. Once again, as we all know that class creation is very important before creating a constructor. So for that I'm going to create a class name as student, and in that I'm going to include class objects as id of int data type and name as name of string data type. So concentrate on the mouse pointer. Once we create a class objects, next thing is to declare the constructor called student. Here we are including two parameters, one is I and n. So using these two constructor, I am going to initialize the I value to id and n value to name. So I will show in the next part of a slide how to create the how to initialize the objects. So for that I am going to use a display method. In that I am going to you include a output statement in order to print id and name of a student. So here before creating instance object, I need to declare the main function. As we all know that main function is very important part of a Java program. So immediately after declaring the main function, I can go for creation of instance object and passing the values to id and name. For that I need to use a class name as student and the instance object called s1 and new. Whenever I use a new keyword, a constructor is called student. One second, here a small correction is needed. The class name is student. So I have made some changes, typing mistakes. So once I create a main function, when I use this class name in order to create an instance object, when I call a new keyword, at that time one constructor will be called. When the constructor is called, 111 is passed to the id object of class and name as current. So similarly, if I want to initialize the second student id and name values, then I can create a another instance object called s2, and once again if when I use a new keyword, I can pass 222 as a id value and rn as a student name. After calling the constructor, now I need to call the display method in order to print id, name, id and name. When I call s1.display, then id then the output will be displayed as id equal to 111 and name equal to Karan. Similarly, when I call s2 instance object s2 dot display, then id value will be 222 and name will be rn. In this way, we can display two students output using the instance objects. And once we create an instance object, we need to call the method of a program by using instance object. So in this way, we can create a parameterized program in the Java. So I hope you followed all the three concepts. If you have any doubts regarding these concepts, please drop it in comment section of the video. I will be answering all your doubts. Thank you so much.